So dark in here all the time. Dreary. Hi everybody. Am I recording? I think so. Hello, am I here? I've been learning about finances and stuff. So I've been working my credit score like a fucking heavy bag. That analogy came to me because my son's getting into Thai boxing and stuff. He wants to be an MMA guy. Hard to watch the training and stuff. I was thinking about joining the class with him, but first off, it's all of these fucking dudes really wrestling each other, and I thought, I gotta work, man. I can't have some fucking dude hanging on my head for 20 minutes a day or whatever, half an hour, but because they go quite long and physical, right? Anyway, does look fun though, and that's the other thing. It looks too fun. Like it would psych me right. It psyched me up watching it or whatever, but it would get you really burning and going, right? Anyway, good for him. He's 13. He's perfect. Do it up, boy. So I don't know why I even got on that tangent. Anyhow, so I'm thinking about. I've been working on my credit. Oh, the heavy bag thing. Working my credit like a heavy bag. Duh. I've been thinking about doing a video about that, and I could do one on credit. I want to do one on diversifying a portfolio, and what a portfolio even is for dummies. You know what I mean? Like if you're just coming out of high school, you don't know any of that stuff. You don't know what any of that is. They don't teach shit. So doing a couple videos about that kind of stuff would be good. But coming from a broke guy, it doesn't seem straight, right? But I went bankrupt a while ago. Years, I don't know, a few years ago now, not too long. And so I had my credit back to what I was when I was a kid, back before I fucked up. And then had to start over. So job, whatever. I've always had jobs. Just kept my job and kept going. Had a good bank relationship. Not great, but just a decent one, you know. And so I stuck with that. Though I kept jumping around on banks because none of them are any good. And I'll get to that, but none of them are any good. Anyhow, so I've been thinking about all this, and the goal is to get a mortgage, buy the piece of land, open up the flat Earth farm, and if you build it, they will come. I don't know, maybe we'll see. And if they don't come, then I'll just do it. I'm old though, pretty fucking old. Lots of brain for an old guy, and I still outwork the young whippersnappers. You young whippersnappers, I'm always outworking you. I don't know. Oh, I should do that so you can hear me, you young whippersnappers. Anyhow, so I was singing about the the mortgage thing is my goal, and the flat Earth farm and all that, and just started from somewhere. So obviously, the first place I started was with God and prayer, knowledge, wisdom, discernment, and understanding. And the way that goes, and I know I've said this before, but not enough. You go out and seek knowledge, and then pray for discernment enough to understand that knowledge, and then you can convert it to wisdom. But if you don't have, you can have a whole bunch of knowledge, but if you don't have discernment, it's not wisdom. It'll never get to being fully understood so that you can actually impart wisdom on people with it and use that wisdom in your own life as well. So pray for those four things. They're very different. Even though we're taught like, words, right? All the same. No, words are so important. That's why, and I'm going to say this, and it's repetitive too, don't swear. Try to avoid swearing. And not because it sounds bad to authority, because it does, and it does sound bad like in a job and whatever. You're not going to get promoted real quick. It's gutter language. But it's also, it lowers your IQ. It's degrading your vocabulary because you're able to take a word like the F word and just apply it in so many places that rather than coming up with better adjectives or better verbs or better whatever exclaimers, you're just using that same one that can just go anywhere, and everybody brags about that. Oh, well, F word's great because it can just do anything, right? Well, no, that's not great. That's a stupid word. It's a word for a stupid person that has no vocabulary, and so therefore just needs a word that can kind of do anything for them, and it's not intelligence. It's the opposite. And in order to have a healthy, strong brain and not have like dementia and shit like that when you get older, you got to exercise it. It's just like your body or anything else. You got to exercise, and then when you exercise, everything gets stronger, and when things get stronger, they work for better and longer. And your brain's no different. It's a muscle. So good to not swear and try to exercise the mind by using a more broad vocabulary. And it looks good in job interviews or in job day to day, right? Hang around with and surround yourself with people that you want to be like, because you're going to become like the people you're around. So if you surround yourself with gutter people, you're going to be a gutter person. In order to elevate yourself, elevate your surroundings, including people, friends, and all that kind of stuff. And if you're at that lower level and you can't really attain those friendships yet, go on YouTube. Just separate yourself from the lower level friends. Connect with higher thinking people in the higher mindset abroad, digitally, until your conversation becomes of a higher intellect and a higher level, and then you'll attract better people naturally. Let's hope. Anyhow, so the finance video, again, I can't really do it because I haven't made it yet to tell you how to build a portfolio when my portfolio is only just getting started. But I can tell you how to start a portfolio. I can define what that is, and I can give you the steps to getting there. And then, like I was saying about the banks, they failed me. And I went to this bank, that bank, credit unions, tried it all, right? All the physical banks. They take your money, hold your money, and then charge you for the privilege, while they lend your money out to other people that they also charge. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no incentive here for me. So I found Wealth Simple was the first thing that I found. and I'll get to that. Anyways, so coming out of bankruptcy, I was back to being a kid again. Perfect. This time I have a little knowledge going in, right? So my first step was I went to Capital One and just I actually saved a few $100 up, thinking that I was going to get a prepaid MasterCard. I went to my bank. I was at the Royal Bank then. I had an amazing account with the Royal Bank. I could spend like $1 million in Interact and transfer 100,000 and fucking. I could instantly cash checks for I forget what it was, a couple grand or whatever, and just the account was through the fucking roof. But it was because it was some girl that had a crush on me in elementary school that worked at the bank when I went in one day, or maybe not had a crush. I don't know. It seemed like she did because she fucking loaded my bank. Oh, is this your bank account? She says it doesn't seem to have much on it. And then my account was fucking through the roof, man, and for no reason other than she just recognized me. We got along in school, all through school, like elementary, junior high, right into high school. We were in the same general neighborhood, but farm country, so fucking just on the same bus routes, and we went to the same schools, but we lived miles and miles apart. Anyway, so yeah, she hooked me right up. But when they refused to give me a prepaid card, they wouldn't even fucking look at me for it. And then I went to Capital One and talked to them, and they gave me a card right there on the spot, uh, without prepaid. They just gave me a card. So that was another switch of banks, and I had already switched banks before I went bankrupt a couple of times, trying to find one that was good. Or the TD, I think, was the best of all the physical banks that I had. I think the TD was the best, except that one of my car loan was with the TD Financial. So I couldn't have a TD account. I couldn't have money in the TD account while I was waiting to do my bankruptcy, because I would have had, they could have just cleaned it out at any time or whatever. They could put liens on it and take the money and do whatever they want. Anyhow, so waited. I ended up waiting years because I had student loans. I wanted to get rid of them, so I waited long enough for the student loans to go to. And anyway, got the card and just was diligent with it. And then I was kind of doing a lot of business at the time personally, and working with a guy who was a small company. So I was using his job sites to build my credit. So if he needed a bunch of plumbing, I'd go put it on my card, wait till the job was over and we got paid for it at the end of the week or whatever, and then I'd go pay my whole balance off, card right back to zero. And then I also put all my gas through my card. But I did it in a way that I had the $50 in my bank account, and I could have done it cash, but instead I'd put it on the card and then put it as a payment on the card as well the same day. So 3 days later, we'd get through the banking shit, and they would immediately get that $50 would just go boop, doop, 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 up and down constantly. And then the whole $300 was going doop, 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 constantly. And so then it wasn't long at all. They jumped me to 500 and then up to 1,000. And then, so now more recently, I still looking for the banks, and found out what a portfolio is. What's your stock portfolio and your investment portfolio and whatever. So your portfolio can be your assets, land, trucks, cars, houses, rental properties, anything like that, anything that's an asset. And then your stocks and bonds and retirements and shit like that. The way to get that stuff, and this is what most people don't know, just Wealthsimple's a good one in Canada. There could be better ones in the States, and I know there's 3 of them in Canada that are quite reputable. Wealthsimple's the one I went with. I'm loving their app. Everything about it. Everything about their accounts, and so now I got a Visa MasterCard with them, or a Visa debit. It's Visa MasterCard. Oh no, debit MasterCard. Visa debit. So it'd be MasterCard debit. Doesn't sound right. Doesn't roll off the tongue. So debit MasterCard. That doesn't roll off the tongue either. So it's like prepaid. But it doesn't build credit. Doesn't work on the credit bureau or anything like that. It's not like a credit card. It's prepaid. It's like a bank account. But you can use it for online purchases. That's the difference between it and a bank account. And there was limitations with it. If you're like a business and shit, that it won't work for bank account stuff. And then the other limitations are like Planet Fitness won't take their card. You can't set up your gym membership to pay through them because they're not a bank, essentially. But there is a bank. I'll get to that too. So Wealthsimple, and I'll put a link in the video for you. What it did was, or what it does, is it gives you access to the stock market, and now, and to cryptocurrency as well. You just got to open up accounts, and then it gives you a cash account, and you just open them all up. They're all 100% free, and I've been I put my paycheck right through them now, direct deposit, and I get 3% interest on my paycheck, calculated at the end of every day on what my balance is at 11 at night. Excuse me. And then on top of that, I get this. I get 1% on everything that I spend through the account. And now they set up a bill payment app on there so that you can just set up all your bills. Like, they just upgraded the app, and it's tremendous now. It's so much better than what it was a couple months ago. Anyhow, and you can do easy e-transfers and all that kind of stuff. And the navigation of the app is really fairly simple. For all transfers and things of that nature, there's at the bottom of your screen there. Where's my finger? The bottom of your screen right there. There's just a line of buttons, just like there is on your phone or anything else, or all apps, really, banking apps. And one in the middle is a cash sign, a big black cash sign. You click on that, and it pops up, and you can send your e-transfers or transfer between accounts and stuff like this. And then there's other pages, pay your bills, and then the navigation's really simple. Other than that, and even that's simple. Anyways, you can link it right to your bank accounts, and you can have it set up so that you deposit or invest so much a month out of an account into a stock or whatever, if you wanted to, like reoccurring buys and all this stuff. Or you can just go on, find stocks that you like, that you're kind of comfortable with, or ones that are risky, and maybe you want to make a little jump on. If I found a bunch that are like mining companies and little ones that are just kind of coming out, and less than $1, a couple dollars, $5 a share. And so buy 100 or 50 or 10 shares of all these different little, or maybe one if they're cost a bit or whatever. And then but then more importantly, finding companies that and trust. So like places that you shop regularly, like if you use a grocery store all the time, why not own shares in that grocery store. And then you're benefiting from your own purchases in the long run because it's coming back around to you. Rumble, I invested in Rumble. I haven't really put my videos up there and stuff yet. I've tried a bunch of times. I have successfully gotten them up, but when I delete them off my phone, they come down off Rumble as well. I can't be a server. It's a phone. It's not a computer. I can't keep the videos on my phone. So when I put them on YouTube, I can just, they're up. If you see them, you see them. If you don't, you don't. It's kind of up to fate at this point, but whatever. Anyhow, so then with the with stocks, you want to buy companies that you know, that you like, that you shop at, or also companies that you hate, right? Like Vanguard, right? Yeah, they're too big to fail and blah blah blah. The fucking biggest evilest corporation in the fucking world that owns 90% of everything, and they're super evil. That's the kind of thing that seems successful around here. Any planet I'm on, I don't know. Fucking share a couple of shares, and especially on something like that, because they've got, you search the Vanguard line, there's a ton of it. Their hands are everywhere, and they're BlackRock and shit. That's like an ETF stock, so it's a like their main thing is all of their umbrella as one or whatever. So you're investing in the whole umbrella of the company, so it's really safe. Or considered safe, I guess, because who knows, with the economic collapse that could be coming out. But right now is also the time where new millionaires are made by doing shit like what I'm doing. Just little shit like this while everything's a fucking collapsing and going to shit. And then when it all goes back to normal, oh, fuck, great. And if not, who cares? I'm not breaking myself. Don't break yourself trying to do it. Just do it slow and at your own pace, kind of thing. The other thing to invest in would be gold or silver. I'm looking into silver. Best way to do it is to save up a few bucks and buy a few $100 or whatever in one lump, rather than trying to just buy a coin or two. A coin or two is a really smart way if you're buying it at the local shop, but you're going to pay double because that shop guy's got to make money. He's got to make a buck. And so then you got to wait for that silver to catch up to the price that he charged you before it's worth the investment price. Or so when you buy a bulk amount or whatever, you get, well, you can buy it online, and you can buy it from a professional silver trader that works in your country or whatever. Look them up online, go through. I found a few that all seemed really, they've been around for a long time, and they seemed really well. And anyway, if you order X amount, and I should put up a link to these guys too, I guess, but I haven't used them yet, so I have no idea if I like them. So it's hard to say, right? But anyway, better to buy it that way, and then so save up. And if you're getting interest on your bank account, what a great way to save up. Put your savings in there. At least you're not losing all of the Joe Biden fucking economic collapse on your cash and Justin Trudeau and like. So, because if you're holding cash in the bank right now with inflation and shit, you're losing like 15% a year. So if you're getting 3% interest on it, at least you're down to like 12 or whatever. Unfortunately, but normally it's like 6. So if you're at 3, or normally it's like 2 or 3 or whatever. So 3 would be, I think, I'm just learning all this stuff, but I'm pretty sure it was normally it's supposed to be 2 or 3, or it's 5 or 6, but I think it was 2 or 3. So that having the 3% would actually just keep up with inflation and keep you at par on your money. But where Joe's actually saying, like, economic people are saying, outly saying that we're around 7, but when you calculate it properly, there's other people saying that we're around 15. So who fucking knows? Feels like 15. I was looking at some stuff at work that was priced from like year 2000, and it had like old tags just stuck on the product, and it was $25 for this steel pipe. I'm just giving you a minute to try to guess. It's been 3 years, so it should be maybe $30 or some shit. No, $96. It's 300% increase. And that's, like, if you remember when we were under Trump, at the height of him before COVID, I think I was paying 75 cents, 78 cents a liter for gas. Fucking home heating and home fuels and all that shit was all down like that. Now you're doing good if you can find it at $1.40. $1.38, whatever. Some days I've seen it be $1.80. When I came here last year, it was $1.82, $1.83, something like that. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So with the Wealth Simple, you're able to start building yourself this portfolio. Now, the point of a portfolio is so that you can see, the way you're taught in school is that you save 10 grand in the bank, and then you go to the bank and you say, I want to buy a house. You find your house and you give them the 10 grand as a down payment. But if you're smart, or if you're a rich person, you take that 10 grand, you put it into the stock markets and into gold and silver and different things. And then if it's gold and silver, you get a safety deposit box with the bank and seal it away. And then you can borrow against it as if it was your down payment, but it's still yours. You're just using it for collateral, right? Like a pawn note. So now you got your money to play with. You're still holding your stuff. Your 10 grand still yours. You got your loan. So you buy your house and you pay your loan off. Now you own your house and you got your 10 grand worth of stocks. So now you borrow against all that and you buy your apartment building. Though you should buy the apartment building before you buy your house. You buy your apartment building and you live in it for 10 years while you pay for it. And then you fucking move out of that apartment building into your house, or and rent the apartment that you were living in. And because you were living in it, you got it tweaked right out and you can rent it for double of all the other ones. Or you live in this worst one, which is smarter, and you're just upping your rent a bit, or you stay in that worst one, rent your new house you just bought out for big bucks as well, let it pay for itself while you're still living for free in the apartment building, and then now you own your 10 grand, what was your down payment, your apartment building that you bought, and you got your retirement house. It's all yours and it's all paid for, right? And that's how rich get richer, right? That's how money works. And that's how money works for you instead of you working for it. So that's why you need to get a diverse, strong portfolio. And the best to have things like ETFs and things of this nature, of stocks that are strong and that have been around for a long time, and that are of companies that have been around for a long time, that are going to stay for a long time. So you know you can borrow against that. Now, it's not going to grow. It's not going to be like some big growth in that stock. But by the time you pay your mortgage off, yeah, it's going to grow. It'll be worth more than the 10 grand that it was when you started. Now you got 12 grand in stocks and bonds and shit, and or more, right? Or maybe way less. But if it goes the other way and we go into like a depression, nothing will be worth that, or none of that shit will matter, right? Make sure that you also have like a fucking. I just bought like a bunch of toothbrushes, bunch of them. Fucking. Instead of when I was looking at a Bic lighter, it was fucking almost $5 for one. So I went online and I got 50 for $55 delivered to my house. So now I got 50 fucking Bic lighters. So I'm good to go probably for the rest of my life. Toothbrushes. I bought a whole garden worth of seeds, herb garden worth of seeds, and a full plant garden worth of seeds. And I'm still not done. I'm going to buy a bunch more seeds. And just have that kind of shit kicking around as well, because that'll be what matters. Some fucking butcher knives, shit like that, sharpening stones, fucking fishing line and lures and stuff. Maybe nets, tents, fucking, not that you'll need tents so much, but whatever, right? Hammers and nails and screws and fucking bolts and just any little shit you can think of. Because if shit goes that bad or whatever, you won't have any of that, right? If shit goes bad, I guess the way the prophecy says what's going to happen when it goes south is the Christians are either going to fall away and swear to this new God, or you're going to have to go live in the fucking woods for 3 years. So think about living in the fucking woods for 3 years. They're not particularly going to be concerned about killing us as long as we're not out of sight, out of mind. That's the way I see it. I'm hoping, right? Because they're going to fucking 1984 everybody into 15-minute cities. And once they got you into the 15-minute cities and all that, the few people that escaped, who gives a fuck, as long as we get the most of you. And they're actually betting that those few that escaped, and I bet you their bet's true, most of them are going to fucking too weak, run out of whatever, need, and eventually cave and say, well, no, I got to go to them. They're going to say, I'm not as important to God as a bird in the field or a blade of grass. Bird in the tree, grass in the field. And they're going to lose their faith and go to the city saying, save me, savior, and get chipped or marked or whatever. So that's the alternative. So if that doesn't happen, barring that, and I don't see that until 2030 because of prophecy as well and history. That's why 2020 was such a fucking big disaster. The first black slaves, Hebrew slaves, brought to America was in 1619 and 1620 or whatever, right around that time. And so that could have been the end of the 400 years of slavery or whatever, 300, whatever. Could have been the end of the prophecy. But then instead of that, so they did COVID and they fucking went off on that to stop that from being the time. That wasn't the time because those slaves were actually indentured servants. They worked off their indentured, went on to be fucking landowners, farmers, and had servants of their own. Totally biblical. And then there was a slave sent to a farm in 2030, and his indentureship ran out in 2037. He wasn't released, so he ran away. And apparently, the farm was really abusive and horrible. And then in 20 or 16, sorry, 20, and then in 1637 he ran away, and then in 1640 he was caught, taken back to that farm, and sentenced to stay there for the rest of his life. And from that point on, the Hebrews started to be treated like fucking animals, or African Americans, as you would call them. So that's, expect big strikes on all those dates. They're gonna fucking, that's why 2030 is such a big thing to them. That's now their deadline, right? Because he went to that farm in 2030. His indentured servitude, so if it wasn't 2030, then his indentureship was up in 2037, and then he ran away. So it could have been 2037, but he got away in 2037. He was on the run for 3 years, and then they caught him and sent him back to that farm. So it could have been 2037 when his indentureship was up, and they refused it of him, and he had to go into hiding. Or it could be 2040 when they grabbed him and brought him back there and sentenced him. So expect big attacks on all those years, like major. So that's why 2030 you're going to own nothing and be happy and all this other shit. 2030 this, 2030 that. That's their next day of fear. The Hebrews waking up and asking God to come and save us in one voice. So leading up to that, they're going to start repressing people and fucking shit up, and that's why they're going to try to reverse the racism, so that the Hebrews aren't in a situation where they need to ask God for help. They're going to be in a situation where they're getting reparations and they're getting paid off and they're getting to kick around the white people that did nothing to them. So it's going to fuck up their karmic balance. They're not going to be going to God. That's going away from God. They're going to be going to Satan. And that's perfect as far as they're concerned, right? How did I get down this rabbit hole? That's how. Anyhow. So that's the alternative, the financial breakdown. So until that happens, who knows? You could make it rich. And if you're really biblical, godly, all that stuff, God's going to want to see you make it at some point. And especially hold you up. If you hold him up, he'll hold you up in front of everybody. Be like, look, this is my servant. And look at your lives. You're all drowning in the flood. And he's here in my ark, dry, warm, comfortable. And I even put a well in the center to keep the wooden boat from breaking, that when it hits a wave, it airs the entire boat out. And all the animal feces is blown out through and like a big vacuum every time it hits a wave. Clean the air out. Anyway. That's what you need, one of those in a wooden boat of that size in order to keep it from breaking while going over the big waves. It'll, if you put this, I forget what it's called. It's like essentially a big tunnel that the water can go up and down inside of the boat. And so when the water goes up inside of it, it forces all the air out of all the windows, and then it sucks back down of it. It sucks all new air in. Really neat. Cold, maybe. Anyhow, so he's going to want to hold you up as an example to show the world that the storm doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. You can walk through all the storms. That was the whole thing with Jesus walking on water. Doesn't matter how big the storm. The storm can be raging and the ground is the fucking ocean. Doesn't matter what it seems like. Like, that's the whole thought of faith in God. I don't fucking 100% understand that. I'm not professing that I have all the faith of Jesus and I could go walk on water. Not even close. But I aspire to have that much faith. I'd love to. And but that's the idea of that lesson, that or not parable, but that lesson that he was showing us was that, and the Noah was the same thing. Was God was saying, don't worry about the storm. Worry about your relationship with me. And so, that being said, if you worry about your relationship with God, then he'll hold you afloat during that time of tribulation. And he'll certainly keep you alive when you got to go live in the woods. So prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Great advice. I don't know who said it. It's not my advice. It's my advice today when it comes to that kind of stuff. So like I said, I've been buying the seeds, buying the toothbrushes. And if shit goes good, well, I got all the seeds when I need to plant my garden. I got fucking toothbrushes that I don't have to buy for years and years or whatever. A couple years. I didn't get that many. Bic lighters I don't have to buy for years and years and years. And there's something that's fucking you're always needing and buying and looking for, right? Boxes of matches, again, whatever. It's something useful. Like, fire's always needed for life. Stocking up on like cast iron pans, ways of cooking on the open stove. Looking at the Dutch ovens and studying them and how to cook with them and all that kind of stuff. Gonna go buy one of those soon. Got my really nice new axes and hatchets and fishing poles and fishing lines and all that stuff, but at the same time taking money and putting it into stocks and putting it into stocks that I know and like. Tesla is another one that I've invested in. I'm watching the dollar store and I'm watching Canadian Tire and I'm watching a bunch of stocks that all pay dividends. I think dividends are the answer to self-building investment portfolio. If you can get a diverse and strong holding in a bunch of different dividends, they're dividend paying stocks, then when your dividends come in every 6 months or whatever, or every year or every 4 months, you let them all go into the same accounts, and there's your investment money or hopefully, if you can get it big enough, there's your fucking mortgage payments. So then somebody who's like a business owner, especially, or making higher income, you want to have debt all the time, especially as you're building your retirement and building your investment portfolio. You want to keep debt against it because then it's untaxable because you're always in debt. So, if your dividends are coming in enough that they're paying your debts, then your mind's free for other things. And that's something that's worth more than all the fucking money in the world. If you can have a strong mind and time and resources to build with it a better life for yourself and others, what else is there in life? Like, that is it. You're there. You've made it. You've done it. It's all there for you. Now just keep building and moving forward. So, well, I guess there's kids and wife and family in life, but I mean, aside from that, career-wise, what else is there? If you can have your lab, farm, garage, whatever, but all your bullshit bills are looked after and paid for, so you could focus your time and energy on whatever your projects are, and you do, and you show discipline, you don't go drink and fucking party all the time, you're gonna be having a really, really good life, fulfilled, happy, good life. And staying away from the alcohol is essential to having a good life, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, booze ruins your life, ruins your health, ruins your brain, ruins your fucking relationships, hard on your finances. So I think I got, oh, yeah, so the Wealthsimple, and then the other one is Simplii Financial, and that's the actual bank account. And that's where I can get my gym membership to go through and all that kind of stuff. And before the upgrade of the Wealthsimple account, I could make other bill payments like MasterCard or whatever. But now Wealthsimple does all that. Like, you can set up payees or whatever, and just like you can in a bank account, grab your phone bill and say, oh, I want to pay $10 or $20 or $100 or whatever you want to pay on it that month or week or whatever. And same with all your other bills, your MasterCards, credit cards, telephone, heat, hydro, whatever. And you get 1% back on everything you spend through that account. Cash back into your whatever account you send it to. I send it to my personal account, invest it into stocks, or I'll transfer it over and put it into crypto. Crypto's fun. It's not something that's, I don't see it as part of my portfolio to borrow against because it's too fluctuating, fluttery, crazy right now. But it's still fun to play with and have a little bit of it and dream that maybe it'll fucking kick or whatever. It's under attack a bit, but whatever. Who cares? Who knows? The world can flip right around, right? So just fun, and especially when it's free money like that. It's my 1% cash back in spending put it into the crypto goes up in worth, then I'm making more. Especially if you play with it like wait for a down day. If you're watching the cryptos before, anyways, right now with the banks all crashing and fucking they're crashing the cryptocurrencies as they go down. But you could watch for a down day, buy into some crypto, and then wait for an up day. And even if it took a week, there'd be an up day where it would go up, and wait till you made whatever, 5, 10, 20. Fuck, I seen me make 20, 30% in a day. So just if you waited until you noticed an uptrend in a day, you could just grab into that day and make some money by the end of the day. But if you do it by the waiting for a down day, do your buys on the downs and then do your sells on the ups, you can make money every week, depending on how much money you got to play with. you could do really well. And you're also taking a risk, and you could lose all of it. Technically, just fucking cryptos is totally risky, but whatever. It looks fun. I've been watching it, and it is easy to tell the trends of a day. So you could do that on a day easily enough, because you can basically look at the trends at around 11 in the morning. Start kind of looking at the market, see what everybody's doing and where they're going, and who's going up and how much and all that kind of shit. And you can say, okay, it's going to be an up day or it's going to be a down day, And then if it's going to be an up day, then you fucking buy, or then you get ready to sell and you watch all day. If it's going to be a down day, then you just wait a few hours till closer to the end of the day, and everything's going to be down, and you're doing real shitty, and you buy up a bunch, and then you sit on it for a week and a half, 2 weeks, and that's about usually what it took as I was watching. But a week and a half, maybe 4 days, you'd have another uptrend. That would be the reverse of the down. So if the stocks or if the cryptos were all sitting here as their level, then this is the down, and then this is the up, and then it goes back down to its kind of normal, right? So if you buy on the down and sell on the up, you can make a good percentage of money on your investment, and that's how that buying and selling shit works. And that's when they kind of do their buys. Right around 11 in the morning, you'll fucking notice it kind of goes crazy. Anyway, really interesting and really fun. But that's the whole point of a portfolio. That's how money works for you instead of you working for it. You have to work for it at first. You got to fucking make that portfolio and get it built. And then even once you have it built, you got to still pay the bills somehow as you build yourself. But at least you're not just throwing that money as down payments every time. That's totally stupid. Never fucking down payment anything. No. Collateral. I own this already. So that's going to be my insurance. That's my down payment. And that's saying that I can save and that I'm good with money. So don't worry about that. Now let's move forward. And then you move forward and you end up having more equity in the end. And more equity gives you more leverage, or other equities get worth more as well, right? So then and with more leverage, I guess, you get more borrowing power. And then at a certain point, even if you don't want to purchase something that year, but you're still working and blah, blah, all this other stuff, well, you're still going to want to borrow money. just to show law or just to show debt and stuff, so you just borrow money and you can travel or reinvest it into more stocks and stuff. And I don't know enough about all that stuff to give you more advice, so I better just stop talking. But at a certain point, it's also smart or good to buy risky stocks, and hang on to them for a while. And then if at the end of the year you need a loss, if that stock, like say you've had it for 5 years and it just kept dropping, you never really made anything on it, and you sell it and get rid of it. So then you've liquefied that out of your portfolio, but you've also showed loss, so it goes against your tax for the year. And now you got to take the risk on that investment. It could have went off. You could have made $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, whatever, $1,000,000, or you might have lost, whatever. So sometimes once you get big, it's worth taking risks on things like that, because you can hold them in your portfolio until you need a loss. Sell them off, shows your loss, and gives you but you don't want to do that when you're small. Plan on taking loss. Buying the finding the gold mining companies and the smaller, cheaper stock. For me, was another way of spending that money, free money, the 1%, and just again, good to have a couple things in there that are a risk that could potentially take off. So the mining in the gold and the silver, but also mining in crystals and alchemy and stuff like that. And because those are things that I'm interested in. So they say invest in what you're interested in or what you know. And so those are things that I'm interested in, and I know a little bit about it and stuff like that. So why not look into it in the market? Same with the same places you shop and you go to. So Amazon, if you shop at Amazon, or Zellers if you're Zellers, or whatever, right? I don't know grocery stores around the world, but whatever. The Home Depot, really good one, because it's a lot of places are huge too, right? And they're all over the U.S. and Canada, so that's really good. Rumble, because we want it to stay owned by us. We don't want it to become another fucking YouTube and get privately bought up by these sick people. And so if all of us own a few shares, that'll protect the platform. Oh, so this whole thing was, I got thinking about going for a loan and taking a friend of mine with me and pretending that we were gay and seeing if we could get a loan easier. Dress up like a trans person. And then I was thinking about a bank loan officer. It'd be a funny skit with, you go in and he sees you come in, white man. He pulls out the loan papers or whatever and talking away. And then he finds out that you're gay. So he opens up the filing cabinet and he pulls up the black papers, and then the gay guy sitting there, he's like, "Ooh, I seen the black papers come out and they were thick and they looked heavy, but not for me." And then he pulled out Joseph's mortgage payments of many colors, and those ones, they were really pretty and really diversified, but they were out of my reach, unfortunately. But then he pulled out the gay pride ones. Hooray! I got my mortgage the next day. And the worst of it is that's probably where mortgage loans are and things like that are even going to go to. It'll be like, oh, well, where are you at on the equity? Oh, you cross these check these boxes. Well, it's great for us to lend money to you. Here you go. I don't mind credit score. What's that mean? Um. Anyway, I thought it'd be funny. So I'm gonna leave you be there. 1 hour. Holy smokes. Have a good day, YouTube. This was supposed to be a little short one. I was gonna just do a little, just talk to them for a minute, and then I'll shut right out a whole hour. God bless everybody. Have a good day.